Uh. Uh. That was then, this is now. Exclamation point. Hey. 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 What up, Coco? What up, Omar? Welcome to the live. It's Friday. It is 10:25, 25 minutes after the hour. Friday, November 11th here in Atlanta, Georgia. The temperature is 65 degrees, and we're just going to slightly move up to 67 degrees. This is your host with the most like butter on your breakfast toast. I'm that girl, Coco. What's up? It's been a minute. How you been?
Welcome to my live. It's your host with the most.
Katie,
like
what's up? Sonny, what's up?
Toast.
Jersey, what's up?
Scrap with the rap on what's rocking on TikTok.
Jersey Jersey got on there and told him a little something yesterday. I could appreciate that. I saw you come to the rescue. I saw you.
And get inundated to an
he was like, no, they ain't.
Time that you came in for. With me, your host, Dwight Scrap.
Y'all should have seen Jersey the other day. What up, Cooper? Y'all should have seen Jersey the other day. She was not letting them talk to me any old kind of way. Yeah. If you're on my YouTube, make sure you enjoying the live, that you put the thumbs up so I know you're there. Make sure you guys start liking the room and share the live. Yeah, I felt it. If I ain't never known it, I know that yesterday. Ha. Share the live. Yo, I need y'all to share the live right quick. Let's do it. What up, Truly, Mickey, Queen, KMP, what's happening?
I need y'all to share the live. Stop playing. Cooper, why am I gonna yell that?
Cooper, how am I supposed to say that? Yo, yell. I need to know the rest of it. What up, Taushi? We're running up the likes. We're running up the shares. Y'all should be sharing on Instagram. Instagram, get ready to purchase some badges. TikTok, get ready to, gift and all that. Super chats and super likes. Hey, that was then. This is now, y'all. That was then. This is now, y'all. That was then. This is now, y'all. We gonna show them how we gonna ball. That was then. This is now, y'all. Rise and shine, everybody. It is Friday, November 11th. Yeah. You should just share the live anyway, Cooper. Don't be trying to hold me hostage. I don't do that. I don't do that. Cooper said if you yell it, I'm going to do it. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Jersey. She said, Team Scrap, you are anointed and called to educate the masses. Let's get to it. What up, Coco? It took you like forever to type that. Coco was on my Instagram live for about 2 minutes before she said hello. That's funny. So yeah, man, it is Friday, man. We're about to bust into the weekend. Hopefully, those who have been here have had an amazing week alongside of our other Scraps champions, all the champions in the room. So the champions in the room, if you're on my Instagram, TikTok live, you'll see they have the SCHP next to their name. It's and that ain't no excuse. She gonna say I got a phone call. Those are Scraps champions. Yo, if y'all want to be a champion too, you can join me on TikTok and then subscribe up, and you could be a champion as well. We have an amazing group of people, man, and one of them, my day one, Jersey, showed up yesterday so some of y'all might have been there yesterday when I had to have this conversation on this Jewish platform, on this Jewish live that was going on yesterday, and typical of these lives that are really happy Veterans Day, by the way. I'm sorry. So it turned into something else, Taushi. I played one song and then it went a whole nother place, man, but it was amazing. You know how it goes. It went to an amazing place and so many people enjoyed the conversation. It went up. For those of you who are joining for the first time on Instagram, make sure you're following me, but you should also be following me on TikTok and on YouTube if you want the best experience and also to catch me on regularly. That way you can turn on notifications, which is one of the social digital currency spins that'll keep you abreast of when I'm on and when we're having these conversations. Usually, I'll have a topic like we have today. What up, Alpha? The topic of today is that was then and this is now. And if you've attended one of the prior lives that I've done, then you'd understand that it came about as we were talking about historically what we lost in all this transitioning from, not having the freedoms that we have now, and then the freedoms that we have now and what they are, how we're managing them. That was then, this is now. So we heard stories, we know things about not only our ancestors, but our parents and those people who came before us, and the habits that they had, whether they were forced to have them or whether they adapted or whether they, positioned themselves differently for it to be how they needed it to be to move forward and to survive through those times. We've lost some of that, man. Like some of that stuff is we let go by the wayside, and I think that, we don't talk about the nostalgia of our lives, which is what keeps us going. What up, Red? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff that our parents went through. And it's funny because on YouTube, I typed it in. I said, a bite to eat. That was then, this is now. I think I said, what should we have kept and what should we have trashed or something like that. Because there are things that were, that are still good and effective today that we don't put into play. And then there are things that we do, and I know somebody gonna clown me for saying do, but there are things that we do now that we should take out of the mix and replace it with something that we did before. And we went through a myriad of things yesterday, because as you start thinking about what got us here, as we start thinking about the foundation, Cash Flow, you were there? Okay, I didn't know that. She said that those folks from yesterday with the platform owner had to jump. Yeah, man. That's typically what it is. Good morning, Letitia. Letitia's always on my YouTube. Yeah, she'll be on both in a minute, but Letitia just joined on YouTube. It's crazy, but that's the whole that's how things work, right? When you think about what's going on in the mass media will not allow you to have the conversation because the truth will come out. And the objective is to not let the truth come out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like that, Truly. Truly said Doodoo is right because those things went in the toilet. You're right. But that's the way those conversations go. And you have to know that going in. And I think they made a great point, which they didn't know they made this great point. But the great point that went alongside that was this. When you're in a situation like that, what up, Goddess? When you're in a situation like that where you enter into the lion's den, so to speak, you have to know that they control, the parameters in which the messaging or the conversation, they steer that. And that's why I admonished the host of the room. I said, man, this is not a safe environment. And they don't have to be. And that was what the other guy was saying. I think his name was Handsome Jew or something like that. That was what he was saying. It's like, I don't have to be cordial. This isn't one of those. But we're talking as respectful people. At least I thought I was. At least I thought we were. And that's why I once I realized that I wasn't speaking with a respectful people, I said, you know what? I'm gonna mute up. Y'all go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, because you want me to scream at you. You want me to go back and forth with you like this. I'll wait, and then when I get my turn, I'll say my piece. And when I do it, I will openly help you recognize. And this is the thing that they hate, when you openly recognize that, hey, this is what you're doing. I don't know if you know you're doing this, but I'm gonna expose it so you can see it, and then we can put it out here on the platform, and you can go from there. But that's not what they wanted to do. That's what's up, Truly. I know that. They didn't want that conversation out because the truth cannot come out in those situations. Like the truth is so damaging to those people. You know what I mean? To those when those groups of people get together like that, they absolutely don't, Cash Flow. You can't introduce those. So you have to do one better. You have to say, you know what? This isn't the environment for me. And the only reason why I'm speaking on it is because of the way that you guys are only railroading the black guests that speak objectively. And then we say, what is happening in society today is that black guests that speak out objectively to anything that you got, the rhetoric that's out there, they're being admonished. And that's what we're watching with Kyrie, and that's what we're watching with Kanye, is that because they spoke out publicly about this, the truth is what the truth is, and they are damaged. Whether it's publicly known is the biggest. Coco said they hide behind the facades because the truth will damage them forever. That's the issue in a nutshell, is that validating these truths is painful for them, because the only thing that they can hold on to, if y'all think about the plight of their argument, there's only one thing that they hold on to, and y'all know that they hold on to one event. The one event validated them, and they won't let that go, because everything else doesn't. Everything else was a lie. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. And that was cash flow. Like, we're revamping a little bit of the conversation yesterday, but people will show you who they are if you just make room for it. So that was the other reason why I shut up. I said, let me just be quiet, because y'all not gonna put me in a trick bag, and then you're not gonna sit up here and make me become what I despise. Like, I hate rude people. And that's what they did. They started talking in their own language in a public platform, and that's one of the rudest things you could do. It's like sitting down at dinner with a couple guests from another nationality, and all of a sudden they start busting out in a tongue that they know that you can't speak. Who does that? And they did it. They did it so casually, and then they did the little snicker laugh afterwards or whatever. And I could only imagine, what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't nothing to misread, baby. Like, it was something that, it was an event that, you know what I'm saying, that yeah, I know, right? And I saw that I saw that that they were that was her trying to, you know what I mean? It was a weird moment for me when I saw it. I was like, what are y'all doing? Okay, I see y'all. You know, and that's kind of what, and that's what the community does. You know what I mean? They want to put a position together where they say, we get to say who stays and who doesn't, and we get to say how, you know what I'm saying? You killed it. You did an amazing job. Y'all should have been there yesterday, man. Y'all would have seen Jersey with a cape on and everything, because she came and saved the day. Because they were actively showing you who they were. And if y'all watched it, you would have seen they were very, very accepting of all of the conversation of anyone who was of Jewish descent, and then anyone who was black or otherwise. They really they showed their colors. It was a horrible way to be. Yeah, they showed it was happening in real time. Trina, what's up? It was happening in real time, cash flow. That's why I was like, yo, y'all don't see that y'all are actually depicting what is the problem. Y'all are literally going through the motions of what we discussed was the issue. And the fact that they didn't see it was throwing me off. I was like, yo, y'all don't see that? Y'all don't see that what y'all are doing is exactly what we were talking about? Like, in real time, like we were doing this, and and they kept acting like it wasn't happening. Then, you know, it was funny. Like, I wish we could have had a replay of it. What up, Tashi? Make sure you hit the thumbs up over there on YouTube when you join. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and like. I wish we had the replays so y'all could have seen and heard it again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what's needed completely. No one was doing that publicly right now for Kyrie and Kanye. No one is saying, yeah, I hear all that. Yeah, they might have said something that was off to you, but this is why. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. If y'all ever want to see the most oddest thing of how people deflect, you have to go in those rooms where those select small nuances of people have fixed positions. And when they have these fixed positions, they're not open to change, nor they're open to a different discussion. Donut, what up? Make sure y'all hit the like button over there on the YouTube. I see the YouTube is growing a little bit. Hit the like button. That's the thumbs up joint. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're recapping Donut. I jumped into a Jewish live yesterday, and the energy was way off. Like, they were really, it was crazy, because you see how much people really hunger for control. you see how people don't know how to manage having power that way. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing with this. Yeah, he was from the beginning. They were going in, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to relax, man. Listen, she was trying to she kept trying to push me into saying that I was angry, and I'm like, yo, I'm not angry about things that are immovable. Like when I broke it down to her about the dollar being in our neighborhood, lasting in our community, the amount of time that it did, I was like, yo, I ain't mad. That's a fact. How I'm gonna be mad? That's a fact. Who gets mad at facts? And she kept saying, well, you're upset because I'm like, no. And then she tried to, I'm kind of going back over this. I talked about this last night, but she said, why are you bringing this up? And I said, my bad. She said, why are you bringing this up? I said, because you brought up that Asians made the most, that were the most financially solid group. You know what I mean? You're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was good like that. I was like, no, I said, that's not the case. I said the reason why that is the situation it is because the Asian dollar lasts 29 days in their community. 29 days out of a month, y'all. That's a crazy statistic. 29 days out of a month. There's only 1 or 2 other days that they do not circulate the dollar in their community. We got to adopt, and that was her. So in the midst of it, I'm good with giving people their props. And she said something that was right. She was like, yo, what y'all should learn from them. And although it was condescending the way she spoke, you know what I mean? No. So here's the number, Donat. It's 29 days in Asian communities, 19 days in Jewish communities, 17 days in white communities, and 6 hours in the black community. That's the latest statistic. And the fact that the fact that she had had the nerve to say what y'all need to do, this shows how crazy people are out here, how crazy their conversation is toward us. She gonna say what y'all need to do. I'm like, how are you not in my community, don't share my views or my any of it, gonna tell me what to do? Ain't nobody listening to you. What are you, crazy? But she felt very comfortable and protected in the environment that she was in. These are the conversations that they're having around their dinner tables when they hear these subjects that come up. These are the conversations that they're having. That's right. They won't spend their money with other nationality races. They buy from each other. More importantly than that, here's the things to take from a situation like that. We have to build, and this is all it boiled down to. Even last night when we were talking, Taushi, when we thought we was going to talk about music, it actually turned to this. It turned to building. It's turned to building. What's up, Marcy? They always say you can learn a lot from a dummy, and that's exactly right, Marcy. That's why, Marcy. Listen, Marcy. That's the reason why I do not shut up the trolls when they come into lives. What up, Myra? That's the reason why I invite people to come to the table. You know what I'm saying? What up, Capone? I enjoy those people coming in because they're teachable moments. Without that girl saying all that stuff she was saying and that other dude gaslighting and the whole nine, we couldn't uncover those truths that were evident, that were sitting in the room right in front of our face. We could not uncover those truths without those idiots saying what they said. We couldn't have done it. We couldn't have done it. And so that's why, like, I'm a very active listener. You're not going to pull a fast one over on me because I'm paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And I'm mindful of the words that you use. And so they kept trying to deflect and change the conversation and whatnot. But it all boils down to building, right? There were some cool things that were said, even in the ignorance as she spewed it, but building it was one. Building our own was such a huge thing that we have to manage. That is so in the context of the title of today's live, that was then, this is now. That is something that we have to get back. We have to get back to building our own. One of the things I thought about, that I think should happen is the communication with those of us who have benefited from the success that these companies have allowed us. I know somebody said that Kyrie Irving should just quit and keep it moving, but that's not what he should do. Kyrie Irving should actually say, if I'm going to quit, if at some point I'm going to quit, let me take a step back and keep working for another month or 2 months or whatever. And any of that money that I was not going to count on, let me use it towards building infrastructure for some black businesses. Let me use that, I don't know, $12 million that I was finna earn or whatever it is. Let me put that towards something that's building in our community. We need to start building our own communities. We should build our own communities. We should, when these people have accrued these kind of accounts and made this kind of money, then we need to say, look, man, if you're gonna throw it all away, I mean, if they said Kanye lost $2 billion, then we should have had a real conversation, and we need to approach how we communicate in these and how we stand up. Because if it costs us, then we should have earned and have created something. Cashflow says hard to build anything when we aren't offered resources by our corporate government, though. Not even necessary. Jersey said we need to understand how to establish, implement, and manage our own community. Absolutely. And yeah, Cashflow, that is what the woman, she failed to realize. But in that conversation, we have all that we need. We just have to change the way we look at things. The problem is too, and everybody, they need to make a complete stance. You're right. Instead of one person sticking their neck out, it's easy to cut off one head. It's hard to cut off 100 of them. You know what I'm saying? And when they realize that the 100 are standing 10 toes down and not going anywhere, it changes things. But what needs to happen is every city that you go to, especially major cities, but all around the world, around this country, there's a lot of land. There's a lot of land. What up, Spooky? Bill Gates has showed you that it was a lot of land. Because he's been buying it up. But that's what needs to happen, is buying up land in the outskirts of these cities and buying enough to put, I don't know, let's say it could be as little as 25 houses on it. You build those 25 houses, but then you also surround that 25 houses with businesses that can benefit the community. You put a school that's more like a homeschool school center for those families that you put in those 25 houses, hopefully the families of color. And then you put a farmer's market there, and you put a restaurant there if you want to, but you surround the community with the resources that it's going to need to survive. And when you build that community, now you don't have to go far to spend. You don't have to go far, and that dollar circulates between those businesses. And then you make businesses that are so dope, which we are known for doing. Like, we are the cultivators of all things, fly and dope, from food to clothing and all that. And if we know that, then we just got to build it. You know how they say, if you build it, they will come. Well, that's the thing that needs to happen. If we build it and we make it fly, we make everything fly. Like, everything that's popular for us, everything that's live for us, from the way we talk, from the way we walk, from the clothes we wear, from the places we go, people want to be like us. So when you build it and you put it somewhere where it's going to make sense, guess what's going to happen? We then can take the dollars that come in from other nationalities and we can flip it back into the community, because that's what's not happening. We're the ones going out to these other businesses and spending our money. We're the ones that's going to, TJ, we're the ones going out to these other people and circulating our dollars. They're taking our money and they're building with it. That money don't come back, and nobody in our community can build with it. That's why it only lasts in our community 6 hours. So it's multi-layered. Let me take it back another layer. We develop it. Then they, either by coercing or by manipulation or by just the not knowing business, they buy or take it from us. And y'all are watching this in real time, so y'all can understand, like, you're watching this in real time. Adidas, at this point, has said, we are going to keep selling this dude's shoes. We just gonna take his name off of it. Now, the irony of that is they think we're gonna purchase it. That's the dumbest thing. You know what I mean? I know, right? Letitia said you should have won that $1 billion ticket and started your own black town. They, by any means, they wouldn't let me win that money because it'd be a whole. Y'all don't even understand. I'm doing a whole lot different. If they can't let me win that kind of money, and I would kind of disappear for a minute. I buy up a bunch of land that I need to buy. I go through and find these soldiers that's in the neighborhood, these veterans and all that. I start a training camp so that people understood how to defend themselves. Because without being able to defend ourselves, guess what can happen again? Juneteenth can happen again. I mean, Black Wall Street can happen again. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be a structure of a whole lot of stuff that goes on and how we fix it. But I don't think they will, Tashina. Tashina said, sadly, that people will purchase the Adidas. I know I won't. And matter of fact, I'm going to coin the name Unyeezys. If I see anybody with Unyeezys on, I'm going to clown the shit out of you. And I hope everybody else does too. Unyeezys. If you try to sport some, it's going to be clown like them buddies that people used to wear. We used to clown people for wearing shoes that looked like Converse that wasn't Converse. They was called buddies. Anja says none of these celebrities want to build a community for us. Something about the industry that has them shook. I think it's a lack of knowledge and initiative. Like they don't have a reason. So listen, make sure y'all do that. Make sure y'all call them Unyeezys. I swear I'm gonna do a post and I'm gonna make sure that my voice is heard when I'm saying, listen, there's no way, there's no way I'm wearing Unyeezys. I'm gonna take the post where they said they're gonna keep selling it but not paying them for it. All that. No, we ain't buying Unyeezys. But that's what needs to happen with the remaining money that Kanye has. He has to understand that the people are with him. He needs to start. He needs to do what Sway told him to do. Start your own. Build your own. When you got this $2 billion, when you got all these other people's money, you can't sit up and wait for them to do something for you. You got the resources. Nobody wants to use their own resources. Yeah, buddies is the Midwest all day, Tashi. That's funny. That's the real concern here. Those that have don't want to put up in such a way that it's impactful and to start building. Once you build one community and you make it flourish, you put people in position to contribute to building another community. It's got to happen one at a time. And if you do it right, you can build them all. You can start building out this nucleus, you know what I mean, around. I like that. Marcy said Unyeezys, a.k.a. sleazies. I like that. What up, LaRon? I see you. Never got that Cash App either, by the way, brother. Anyway, I think that it's important that that's with you. I think it's important that that we stop being reactive in the way that we show support. Like right now, we're being reactive. And we can't always be on the response side of things. We can't always be on the because it's happened to me, this is why I'm doing this kind of thing. You know what I mean? We got to be on the and that's a challenge too, Tashi. You know, he's not the most popular person. Tashi said, I read T.I. is starting a is building a community. He's it's kind of challenging because some people don't you know, it's kind of challenging when you have certain leadership, you know, try to jump in the mix. T.I. shouldn't be the face of anything right now. And this is no diss, but I don't think that for what he's got going on, that's a reputable person to have in this position. Too much comes with that. If he does do it, I think do it low key. He shouldn't be the front man for it. There's a few people I know that should not be out front leading the conversation in so many different places and situations. There's so many people who I think just should take their dollar. Excuse me. They should take their dollar and contribute, but not. They should just contribute. Excuse me. I need to get some water or something. And I don't want to drink my apple cider vinegar drink yet. What time is it? 10:54. I'll drink it in 6 minutes. There are certain people who should not be out front leading the conversation because they're already going to get. They marginalize the conversation. People are going to look at them like, nah, that's the wrong person to be out front. So I agree his face is great, but the fact of doing it, it's not, he can't, that is dope. Like him actually putting his money where his mouth is, taking his hard-earned money and making a resource for other people, I think that's awesome. And collectively, that's what needs to happen so that we can build these communities up and start spending that money. You know what I mean? The Asian people went from nails, hair to seafood, and black people eat it up. You're absolutely right. But that's also because we dive into other people's culture and we support it. we support their stuff. You know what I'm saying? We have to build our own and make it available for everybody else to invest in. I wish Kanye West would have already, even in the midst of having all those billions, had put up a brick and mortar himself. It could have been under somebody else's name and just said that this place is supported by Kanye West. You know what I mean? Some of the things that are in it will be contributed by Kanye West. That is one of those things that now we're retroactively trying to get that done versus being proactive in our approach. I think that before, when things were happening, we were more on the offensive. We weren't waiting for things to happen. We were making things happen. They scheduled marches, not because things were, they scheduled marches because things were disproportionate. So they didn't wait for an event to pop off, although the events, when they did pop off, was like putting gasoline on it. You know what I'm saying? We have gotten to a place where we too good to do certain things. Woo-wee, girl, you better say that, but go out and make it great. You, listen, we create the cool stuff and then we give it to other people and then we get mad that they profit off of it and we don't see the lion's share of it. This is the music industry. This is the film industry. This is retail. This is what we do. We create it and we give it to somebody else to produce it, and then we consume it. Run the shares up. Yeah, we create it. Other communities champion it after they're a part of it. It's like they say, okay, you got the green light to do it because we got a couple guys that are involved. It's gonna make a few people in our community millionaires. And then we're not invited to that same party. Like, we're not included in the wealth building with other communities. We're not. We're on the outside of it. We're on the outside of the wealth building of every other community. You tell me, they said something yesterday. I didn't get a chance to respond to this. Yesterday in the conversation, they was like, well, Beyonce and Jay-Z are billionaires. And all I could say to them was, and I didn't get a chance to say this on stage, but I wanted to say to them, if Beyonce and Jay-Z are billionaires, how much money do you think the Jewish owners made? If they're billionaires, how much money do you think how much wealth do you think they created for the people that employed them? What are you saying? Now, they were savvy in some of the business decisions that they made, which took the hand out of their pocket a little bit more as they became more of an asset. But if you think Jay-Z and Beyonce made more than the Jewish owners of those labels, y'all got, listen to me. No, Anna, it ain't million. Anya, it ain't millions. Those Jewish owners make gazillions in comparison. Listen, same thing with Adidas and everybody else. While we talking about Kanye being a billionaire for his contribution, then you got to think that they're making billions of dollars. You understand? That's how that works. So yes, it's still disproportionate. Yes, we celebrate the fact that they're making millionaires. No. So Letitia says on YouTube, do you feel it odd that Kim doesn't support him in any kind of manner? My marriage, regardless, we stick by each other, but behind closed doors, we like, you should have did this. I think she does. I think they show support for each other by, financially. They made each other, like, he ain't taking a real hit because he's a part of Kim's company, just like Kim is a part of his company. You know what I mean? I think they gave each other 5 or 10% of each other's company. But if you think that, listen, I can tell you that no investor would get involved in any situation where they're not receiving, if they're putting up the bulk of the money, they want the bulk of the results. Even when the product isn't designed or created by them, that's how it's set up, because they're going to say, y'all watched, y'all watch different shows and y'all see how things get negotiated or whatnot. Most times, these record labels approach these kids when they're in dire straits. They approach these kids when they need help. And so when they approach these kids who need help, they'll look at the fine print. Listen, I'll tell you a story. A buddy of mine, when I first got to Atlanta, while I was waiting for the music stuff to kick in, I was modeling, and I went to it was this company. I went down and started modeling for them, and they got me like a TV show and everything like that. And as I would go into this office, it was a guy. He was from the Middle East or whatnot, and he was Jewish. And he was like, one day I went in playing some music from my homeboy, and my homeboy happened to be with me, but he was in the lobby while I was inside taking the meeting. He was like, "Yo, who's that playing?" I was like, "That's my homeboy." He's like, "Yo, for real?" He's like, "Yo, sounds dope. Does he want a record deal?" Just like that. And I was like, "Well, yeah, I guess." You know what I'm saying? And so he went out. I see you, LaRon. Appreciate the Cash App, bro. He said, "Can you bring him in here?" My homeboy went in there. He said, "Do you want a record deal?" Now, my homeboy had previously gotten evicted and was kind of living in one of the rooms in my in the apartment that we had. I saw you, family. I see you. I appreciate you. And he immediately asked him if he wanted a record deal. He signed that contract sight unseen. Literally, that contract got put in front of him, and he signed it. And the guy gave him, I want to say, $10,000 or $15,000 right then. That's how that works. And the guy promised to make sure he was good. He bought him a couple cars. He put him up in nice places or whatnot. But that's how they're catching entertainers at your most vulnerable state. They say, "I got the answer for you, but it's gonna cost you." And they tell you it's very upfront. There's nothing sneaky about it. It's about necessity at that point though. So when these artists are doing all this street hustling themselves, what up, Denise? Where they're out here trying to, what up, Enough? Where they're out here trying to establish their career, and a person says, "Hey man, you need to, you being blocked by this wall. I got the answers. I got the relationships to get you everything you need." This is what they're telling you in these meetings, just if y'all don't know. Plus, they made examples out of other people. They made success. They say, "Yo, well, this, we got Lil Baby on our roster, and we got such and such on our roster." And yeah, they go through a black label so that they keep the credibility. But ultimately, all roads lead through us. So when y'all see black labels out here, and y'all say, "Oh, there's a black label doing good," nah, the black label is doing good, but the label they're on is doing amazing. If these labels make $100 million, that means that the bigger label made $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? So it's exactly a million to the Jews. What they do is they invest in your creativity for the wealth building of their community. They don't buy these kids albums. They don't even let their kids listen to most of this stuff. They don't buy a copy for their kids. In fact, they give a copy to their kids if they let them listen to it. So they don't invest back into it. They allow everyone else to do it, and then they take that money and they go build or they go set up a system to control something else that they want to control, another interest that they may have. Y'all gotta, collectively, we have to look at this system and say, how do we got to go back. This is where this is then, back then, and formerly when we wanted to put out music, it didn't reach the masses, but it still did what it was supposed to do. Y'all seen the movies. I mentioned the movies yesterday. I mentioned Cadillac Records. I mentioned the movie The Banker, where access was granted when we as black people aligned ourselves with these Jewish conversationalists, because they had the relationships to go in. They already had the infrastructure. And that's what, when they argue about, don't be mad about us being financially good and all that, it's because they created the infrastructure and didn't include us in it. Yeah, profiting off us as usual. You're absolutely right, Donald. And the only way that we can manage all these things, as I keep telling you, is we got to go back and start building from the grassroots. Nobody wants to hear that, because there's so much comfort in today's technology, in today's systems, in today's the way things are set up is so that you don't even think about going back to those things that make a difference. That's why this live is called That Was Then, This Is Now. then you had no choice, but most of the time you had no choice but to spend with people who look like you. So I'm not saying we're the only ones who we're the only ones who stop living a segregated living, at least financially. We're the only ones who bought into segregation. We're the only ones who bought into segregation. Let that settle in. Let that sink in. They offered up desegregation and they diluted us to the point where we needed others. Diluted us. Do you understand? Diluted us. Y'all don't listen, diluted us. When we were stronger together because we had no choice, we looked at that like that was a bad, for some reason, we treated it like it was a bad thing. We treated it like we weren't enough. Amelia, it stays in our community for 6 hours, Amelia. That's the stat. 6 hours in our community, 17 hours in the white community, 19 hours in the Jewish community, and 29 in the Asian community. And Tasha, you're right. And that's why I said they didn't desegregate themselves. They said, how can we diminish the strength of this community? What do you have to explain that? Oh, they only know so much about slavery. I mean, and that's because, you can only tell people so much without them being upset and wanting to do the right thing to go crazy. But if we talk about it the correct way, then we understand that the separation of everything about the demise of us in this country and in this world has been separation. If you think about it, they separated us from where we were born. They separated us from our religion and separated us from knowledge of self. That is a tool and a mechanism. Oh, okay, Amelia. She said I'm being sarcastic. That is a mechanism. That is a manual. That is a playbook. The playbook has not changed. That the division that has been created over the past is what breeds the success of some of these tactics being used on us. The haves and the have-nots, the I'm for it and I'm against it. When it's really, when people say Democrat and Republican, I look at them like they're crazy. How am I going to vote for two wings on the same bird? Like, what does that make sense? How does anybody win when this bird is going to fly regardless? I don't have to deal with, who's in the driver's seat doesn't make a difference when the community is divided. It doesn't make a difference. Listen, the president hasn't mobilized the people in I don't know how long. Not as long as I've been alive, I have not seen a president mobilize a group of people, except I could say Donald Trump. I'm sorry. Donald Trump mobilized a group of people. And maybe it's because he wasn't a politician that he was able to do it. But he mobilized a group of people, a marginalized group of people, and they clung to him. At this point, we're marginalized people, but yet we can't seem to get it together. We have yet decided that we need to move a certain way as they moved in the past. In the past, I can only imagine the conversation saying, listen, we can't let them. Alexa, show me front door. We can't allow them to mobilize. Because if we do, it's going to affect change. Okay, I got a package. It's going to affect change. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows that if we stick together, if we move as a unit, change has to happen. Nobody wants to see an organized group of black people marching in the same direction for one cause. No, we didn't. LaRon said we did not come from slavery, though. No, we were kings and queens. We were royalty, and we still are. I don't want you to think that because you're not wearing the crown that you're not who you are. And now we're in the age of Aquarius, which when I looked it up and my cousin told me it was, it is the age of knowing. It's not even rebuilding as much as it is just building, Amelia. Like, yeah, we can rebuild Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, but it should be duplicated and fresh and new in so many other different areas. We got millionaires all over the world. Oklahoma wouldn't have been one of those places. I was like, yo, is billionaires hanging out in Oklahoma. I know they are, but I'm just saying. That's right. They try to do a reset, Taushi. Every time we actually mobilize and put things together, it's done behind the guise of one person or one group when the wholeness of us need to stand together. And we got to stop selling out. Like, what up, Rose? We got to stop accepting the crumbs off the table when we deserve the meat on the turkey. Because she said it was 400 years ago. Why do we know so little? It was a punishment if we read and wrote until that's why they're praying that we have short-term memory. Because the further we get away from the crimes that they committed against us, the less we'll remember, the less angry you'll be. The less angry you will be. You do understand that we are warriors as much as we're kings and queens. Like, we become the most docile people I've ever seen, man, and that's not even our nature. That's why when y'all see black boxers get in the ring, they be tearing people's heads off. Jira says, what are my thoughts on reparation? I got multiple thoughts when I think about reparations. The first one being that every other nationality that has ever been traumatized by this country has received reparations. True story. Energy never dies, Angie. Anaya, I'm sorry. That's right. If you take away the writing and books for a few generations, it's gone. That's why it has to be repeated and circulated. Letitia, I appreciate the Cash App. I see you. Thank you so much. I think that's the first thought that comes to when I think about reparations, that you got to check it out, Rose. Check it out. It's opening the mind of the, it should light a fire underneath you, just like that documentary, The 13 should light a fire underneath you. And it should stir up that energy that we're used to having. We're not used to being super chill. That ain't never been us. They said the sound froze over there. It shouldn't. That's you, I think, Laron. YouTube, let me know if y'all can hear me, if the sound has changed or anything, but I can see the level still. We should be good. It's not like us. The term buck breaking is synonymous with taking the fight out of you, emasculating you. Is it cut off? Can y'all hear me on YouTube? LaRon said that they might be changing the that you guys can't hear. I need somebody other than LaRon on YouTube to let me know if y'all can hear me. He says he thinks they cut me off. But there was a term that was derived from all of this called buck breaking. That happens in many different ways. This whole thing with Kyrie and the apology that they want, that's buck breaking. That's called buck breaking. All that stuff, those requirements they have for him. Okay, he says back on. All those requirements that they have for him in order for him to participate in the sport that's making them a ton of money, and then him being one of the elite athletes. Come on, man. I would tell you, that's my thoughts on reparations. Is they wouldn't know how to get it right even if they did, and should they ever do it, that money should be used to build the infrastructure of what we're talking about. None of us suffered from slavery. Our families did, and our families would probably want something set up for future generations. They would have said, I really would have preferred that this money and these accounts are benefiting future generations. And that's the other part of what we're doing. We're not building for the now as much as we're building for the then, for later. There's some things that they did as a solid group when we had no choice. You know what I'm saying? No, I haven't mentioned the Lake Lanier movie about. I didn't even know they had a movie about it. But for those of you who don't know, in Atlanta, there was a black city called Lake Lanier that was just as flourishing as the Black Wall Street, and they did the exact same thing that happened in Oklahoma. They killed all the people, and then they went even a step further and made it into a lake. Now, y'all have heard people talk about this every now and again, but they made it into a lake and buried the remains of those people are underneath that lake. And I don't go to that lake. I do not pronounce. If you go out to Lake Lanier, you'll feel it. You can feel the tragedy in the water. You can feel there have been so many deaths at that lake, it don't make no doggone sense. It's been so many deaths in that lake. You're welcome, Joetta. In that lake, it doesn't make any sense. But steering everything back to that was then, this is now, is we have to look at the great things that happened before us, which we learned this. We learned that if we remove the black dollar, if you go back to the Alabama boycott, if we remove the dollar, people will listen to us. And LaRon makes a great point. Excuse me. And if you watch the video that I posted of Dr. Fred Price, he says that this as well in no uncertain terms. He says, the black people have been the best guests in this country because we're the only ones who have not gone to war with it to receive what we should be receiving. Do y'all understand that we have not fought for anything, like really fought? Like, can you imagine standing and saying things are gonna change? Do y'all understand what that looks like? Like, y'all do understand, like, we just have a different way of, we think that we're going to do all this and not sacrifice anything. We feel like we're going to do all this and not be challenged and not be met with opposition. What are we going to do when opposition arises? Well, in the past, it wasn't always a physical fight, y'all. There were a sector of us that was willing to do that, and I appreciate the Black Panthers for their contribution. I wish all of us had some Black Pantherism in us, enough to be ready for the call should it come. Right now, we're so unprepared. Nat Turner, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be in position to not only be on the aggressive side of things, but also on the protective side of things. That part, Tashi, we do more infighting. And that's why they know they can manage us, because they're like, hey, sit back, let them do what we used to do. Do you think that the religion has a hold on the people because clearly the ones before wasn't as fearful? I think fearful of fighting back. I think, yes. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that we've been indoctrinated to stand down. God will do it. I honestly get unnerved by people who always say God will do it. And I immediately respond, says, no, you have to do it. God just gives you the wherewithal and the courage to go out and do it. We're gonna have to go through it. We're gonna have to deal with it on a prepared level. So the only reason why people are afraid, Anaya, is because they're not preparing. If you are supposed to sing at a concert, but you don't know the doggone words, ain't you gonna be afraid to get on that stage? Absolutely. So we can't get on the stage. What up, Stacy? We can't get on the stage because we have no idea collectively how to move together. There's only one fashion of the Black community that knows how to do that right now, and that's the Muslims in this country, the FOI in this country. They have started and maintain a routine of training, not only spiritual training, but financial training, physical training. They handle their business. You've seen them before. When they actually step out, when some of these events have happened and they stepped out, I've seen the regular people say, why aren't they doing something? Why ain't you doing something? And this is where I go back and I say that I admonish. I feel so angry sometimes when I think about these ministers in these neighborhoods. The ones that have the voice, that the ones that are acting like the voice of the people, the ones that have all the people in the church pews galvanized by their conversation, but have not yet actively said what Dr. Fred Price said. Are you prepared should something come to your doorstep? What are your thoughts on the beef between Black Americans and Nigerians? I don't have a real thought about it. What up, Chad? I don't have a real thought about it because that is that is in fact infighting in itself. I can't think about what they're trying to manage, because most of them they have a personal issue with the way we are here in this America without knowing why we are the way we are in this America. You know what I'm saying? So I can't argue with them. I can't even give them that conversation. I don't even play into that. Yo, I just focus on what we need to be focused on and how we got to cultivate our community for the changes that we want. We have had some great and amazing leaders in the past. We've had some people who have shown us the way, and we don't take the greatness and the good things from it and implement them today. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in. It ain't that we don't know. It's we're too comfortable to do the things that it takes to change. We've seen it. We've seen how uncomfortable. If y'all watch those videos, they didn't want to walk that whole year. They wanted to take the bus. But for the sake of the change that needed to happen, they sacrificed. We don't want to sacrifice because we got it too good. You think any of those, I appreciate the badge, chat. You think any of those ball players and whatever want to sacrifice? We only watched one or two every year. Right now we're watching Kyrie sacrifice. And nobody is grabbing his hand and said, I got you, bro. I'm with you. Let's form this line. Let's do this thing. Nobody is doing that with him. Why is that? The church is so responsible that they're irresponsibly not putting things in order. You know who goes to church? Your mamas, your sisters, your sons, your brothers, and returned military veterans. I don't understand why no one has asked the military veterans to go into these neighborhoods and start training programs. Every other country does it. Every other country sends their people over here, allows them to learn the way and the strategies of the American military, and sends them back over there, and they teach them little kids. Y'all see, listen, there's not a Middle Eastern country you can't go to where there ain't a little kid holding a semi-automatic who knows how to run it. They know how to run it up. Our kids have no idea what's going on, so they are unprepared for any assault on their community first, and then them as a person. So we're always going to feel and live a victimized life. At some point, we got to stop saying what has been done to us and say, what are we planning to do? We can't be so reactionary. It absolutely is by design, Chad. We are so reactionary that we don't know how to be proactive anymore. Like the proactivity that it's going to take for the changes that we want has to be intentional. I mean, I'm gonna do something. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I'm gonna intentionally go on my Instagram and I'm gonna say, hey, LeBron, can I get $1 million? Hey, Kyrie, are you down to put $1 million in this? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because we got to be intentional about what we want, what we need, and those that are in position to do that. They listen, man. Whenever I'm gonna have to hit Floyd up as well. I was with Floyd them out at, during Usher's birthday. I should have said something to him then. I should have said, Floyd, man, look here, man. I know you finna throw another $100,000 to $1 million in the strip club over the next 30 days. I know you finna run it up at the strip club. But how about we do this? How about you skip a month? Skip a month of, treating these girls like this, and let's treat they families better. Let's get them set up so they ain't got to do some of these different things that they doing for the control and the power and the access that they want. Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm gonna say it just like that. I'm gonna say, hey, to all my rappers and entertainers, to all my all those wealthy musicians and producers, can I get y'all to take a month off from the strip club? And I know, and this is no offense to you strip club dancers and all y'all. I know y'all got to pay rent and all that kind of stuff. But I need y'all to take that strip club money that you finna throw, that $30,000, that $100,000 this month, and I need y'all to invest it in a certain place, right? Can I get y'all to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like literally, the reason why they can escape it is because nobody's put the appeal out there. They always say I wouldn't be here without y'all. True story. The reason why, though, that they can move around and not feel any kind of way with it is because nobody has said it openly. Nobody, like, if you don't say it, then they don't feel guilty about it. If you remove yourself from the conversation, if you remove the opportunity for them to hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna say it even when I do it, I'm gonna say this should be my most reviewed or reposted post for change. Hey, we need y'all to put y'all money in different places. I know y'all enjoy watching the strip clubs, and I know y'all enjoy gambling, and I know y'all enjoy a bunch of these things. But why don't we? And I can tell y'all right now, the hardest thing to do is to tell a millionaire how to spend their money. I'm just being broad, Amelia. I know they spend a lot like that in a week. I'm just being broad out, and I don't want to call nobody out and show, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell them, talk to your accountant, man, and see what you can put towards a real change in the community. You know, I know a lot of one of the dopest things that has happened in the last couple of years is we've got a lot of black real estate moguls. We got a lot of black real estate people who know their stuff. We know a lot of people. Trust me, he already in. You know what I mean? Somebody said get Usher. We've already had this conversation. Yeah, it's exactly how it's been done in the past. And that's why that's why the name of this Bite to Eat is called That Was Then, This Is Now. We've left behind some of the techniques and tactics that really, really worked because we felt like because life has gotten shifted and we've gotten comfortable. They've appeased us into saying, that ain't my fight. That ain't me. The way people dismissed Kanye when he was losing his deal and his money, it just blew me away. Now, you ain't got to stand for what he stand for, but you cannot stand by and let other net groups. You think y'all can go in? Do you think y'all could go and crucify or that y'all could go and manhandle or do something to somebody in the Jewish community? Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier, all funded the civil rights movement. We're gonna need that this time. We're gonna need these people have made a ridiculous amount of money and are benefiting in their careers from our support. We validate their cool. We validate their cool. We've stood by them even when they go through things. We're the community that stands by them, and we're the only ones that can manage that. Anaya, that's a conversation for a whole nother situation. She said, do you believe in reptilians? That's a conversation. That's a whole nother bag of that's a whole nother one. No, you ain't missed a lot, Red. If you got here right now, you got here right on time. So welcome to the live. Listen, man, if y'all are on these lives, make sure y'all are running it up. Hit the like button, share the lives. Make sure y'all are participating in the conversation. It's crazy, man. That was then, this is now. What has happened in the past has led us to now, but we have squandered it, and we need to reimagine life how we want it to be, and then start putting things in order to do it. And our position has changed. Like, it's crazy that we have more and do less. Like, we have more resources, but we do less with them. We actually put ourselves in horrible ways. I appreciate that, LaRon. LaRon on YouTube says, man, I love you for your work and on social media. I appreciate that, fam. You know where we come from. Like, I've known LaRon since I was a kid. So he's been in the struggle with me in Flint, Michigan. Like, he knows what it was like growing up. And it wasn't so bad. And I could tell you in the beginning, it wasn't so bad. Flint was an awesome place. And it was very, like, everybody that went to my school, you know what I'm saying, intelligent kids, not a whole lot of hardships. We didn't have a lot of the drama, and that stuff didn't come until later. But he's known me for forever, and he's seen the journey of, being creative, being, that kid moving around to now being in a position to communicate some of the wants and needs that we need to have happen as a community. Like, we absolutely have to put ourselves in harm's way. I forget the term that Senator John Lewis said. It was like, if anybody can remember the term, he said it was like we have to be actively something or something to the effect where it was like we got to do the work, but it's a way he said move, and I'll find it and I'll remember it for the next time we have a conversation. But we have to do something, and we can't continue watching. One of the things I hate mostly is when I see people with when things are going south for somebody of color, you see those cameras come out. I feel like we're watching things happen versus being a part of the things that are happening. We're watching things happen. Good trouble. That's it, Amelia. Thank you so much. We need to be a part of good trouble. There you go, Tashi. Thank you so much. It's about self. A lot of us are not about unity or community. They don't care. They crab in the bucket. True story, Red, but that's also lack of training. That's a lack of understanding. That's a lack of the conversation it's the belief that there's not enough for everybody, right? They definitely play for the scarcity mind tactics, and what we find is there's enough for everybody. We're just putting it in everybody else's pot. How can we be the number one consumer and then complain about not having enough? Those two don't even go together. We are the biggest spenders. We are the ballers. If you want something to flex, yeah, we the biggest ballers out of all these other communities. Why? Because while we're balling, they're building. Why we are balling, they are building. There are more landlords out in New York that are housing and receiving money from outside communities to fund more buildings and to create more wealth and to create more situations where their kids, they can pass down a building. Hey, for his 16th birthday, I gave him the property over on such and such that has 25 tenants, so he's already going to make $100,000 moving in there. The tenants that I had when I had it have already paid off the building. All he has to do is maintain it. Listen, I don't even, Tashi, I don't even mind depreciating assets as much as I mind the fact that there's no reciprocation of it in our community. Hell, get wealthy enough to live how you want to live, but make sure that it's positioning for the long term. This is a marathon. This ain't a sprint. It's a marathon. But we play and treat it like it's a sprint. We want things, we want instant gratification for so many things that we don't plant the seeds. One of the most amazing things that I'm enjoying watching is I planted a fig tree on my birthday, which was May 20th. It was about yay big, and now it comes up to my shoulder. I enjoy seeing that. I think you all should plant something. Amelia, I appreciate you buying the badge, Amelia. Thank you so much. I think you all should plant something. And hopefully this conversation is planting something. And hopefully it bears fruit, meaning I hope that this conversation instills in you the courage, the conversation, the ability to go and share it with somebody else who will then share it, that you will commission them to share it with somebody else. That's my commission to y'all, is we have to talk about it. And Naya says, if we rebel and do our own thing, do you think slavery can happen again? Absolutely not. But we absolutely do need to our first rebellion needs to be in our community. There's no way we can excel forward while carrying the bacteria and the cancerous attitudes of those people who would rather tear down our neighborhood and move forward. We got to get rid of the empty weight. We got to take the trash out. What's up, Savannah? And the only way we can take out the trash is by once a week, if at least once a week, there's a place that everybody congregates at least once a week where these strategies can be implemented and put in place. That's the church. The church every week in most neighborhoods has between 200 and 1,000 people go through there on a Sunday. Out of that group of people, I can guarantee you 15 to 20, maybe 25 of those people have been in the military. If you have these 25 people that are in the military who are essentially instructors, there's no way that there shouldn't be some program set up on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or a Saturday where the elderly, where the youth, where the adults can come and have a conversation about strategically managing the spaces that you're in. We got to be our own security in our community, because the security that's hired to be the security in our communities is taking lives, is jailing and imprisoning those. Why can't we, the community, be the buffer before death or prison? That's the conversation that ministers should be having. We're going to be the conduit between death and prison. Yeah, but it has to be dealt with. Yeah. So when in those neighborhoods where you have, most of the times these neighborhood kids that are out of pocket are just that, neighborhood kids that you all knew and you all seen grow up that have now turned their backs on the community. So it starts with the place where we all attend, and it starts with those that are capable of teaching you strategy. And they should be able to not only teach you physical strategy, but teach you mental strategy. Yeah, and the community got to get back to being responsible for itself. We keep waiting for somebody to come in and rid us of all these negative forces. What? Ain't nobody coming to do that. Ain't nobody coming to do that. The community got to say, y'all can, here's the thing. If you're going to do it in somebody else's area. Go out to the suburbs and do it. Even with the adult bully, who's going to be, listen, one of the things that overcomes bullies is community. Meaning, one person against 5 people, he may try to fight that fight, but he's going to get stomped out. But right now, nobody's even standing up to that one bully to say that they want this kind of change. And again, the main player in these things are the people who has the mind and ear of the community and the heart of the community. Who is that? That's the local pastor. If the local pastor ain't saying, we're coming out to your neighborhood and we're going to do a sweep. Nah, the crime bill, we can't allow outside entities to come within our community and tell us how we should be doing. That's the problem. We keep acting like we need bosses. We keep acting like we need parents. We keep acting like we need guidance from people who don't even know us. What up, KJ? We keep moving like we need the assistance of other people when we don't. There used to be communities that would make and stomp out the problems before the problems stomped out the community. There used to be this thing where before little Tony got into trouble with the law, or before the law took Tony out of the equation, that the neighborhood got on Tony, said, look, man, this ain't it. We ain't doing this. We're not letting you go dead or to the system. And so we're going to have to change some things. I remember when parents used to send their kids away to other relatives when they couldn't manage themselves in the neighborhood they was in. Exactly, Tashi. Our issues are that we don't handle them ourselves, and you have people from an outside community who don't care about us come in and try to handle it. And if I said it from the closest point of view, I'll tell you, it's when you have the policemen come in who don't live in your neighborhood, who don't know any of the kids, who don't know that little Tony was really a good kid, just misguided and just needs some help. You know what I'm saying? The Big Brothers Big Sisters program isn't as predominant as it used to be. It used to be when you lacked one of those parents in your household, somebody else would come and help provide some balance so that the kid wasn't missing out on stuff and going to the streets to find what they needed. But now, iPads, iPhones, streets are raising these kids. I would say it's funny. Marcy on YouTube said we are missing that village, and then on TikTok, Anaya said the village. So y'all are thinking the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both understand. And to KJ's point, to ICANN's point, he's saying it just plain and simple. He says it's the slave mentality where we feel like we always need someone else overseeing us. A mother sent her son to his grandmother because she couldn't handle him, and he killed my brother. Wow. A mother sent her son to his grandmother because she couldn't handle him. I'm so sorry to hear that. And that is a horrible situation of not, I don't even understand how how we even think of the mentality of the person who did that. That is horrible. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, Icy. And then, you can't make any excuse for somebody doing some crazy stuff like that. Parents aren't being, when I mention the iPad and iPhones, Savannah, what I'm saying is we've absolved raising these kids by allowing YouTube and Snapchat and all those other apps to take a more commanding control of their lives. You sit down for dinner and they come to the dinner table and they bring those devices with them. You're traveling to and fro somewhere and you pass them the phone or give them that iPad and say, here, entertain yourself, gain your own understanding. So in the church community, which is one of the most ongoing and influential community resources that we have, we're not having a conversation about starting from the roots. And that's you got mothers and sisters and in the church praying over sons that have gone wayward, and we don't have men that are in the church stepping into those situations. Hey, Venus, what's happening? We don't have those people standing in the fold. We got capable people all around us. We got capable people not doing the things they're capable of doing, for the lack of a better way of saying it. All the people on this live are capable of having a conversation to help elevate our situation. Everybody in here knows at least 5 people they can have a conversation with to change things. You know what I'm saying? But even when we do circle back at some point, undo the negativity that the indulgence caused, it's already done its damage. These kids are being so desensitized because they have access to stuff that they shouldn't be seeing. The programming on TV has gotten so wild that there are kids shows that are lightweight pornographic, that are lightweight, above, they need censorship, but they don't have it. I went to church last year. It was like 9 people in there. Next time, go on Thanksgiving, go on Christmas, and then go on Easter, and I'm sure that number will be different. But even in those points and times, I'm hoping that the ministers in those places will take advantage of. Even here's the cool thing. And this is why I don't mind who attends the lives, because even in the lives, a small group is more powerful than a huge group. And New Year's too, you're right. Watch light, what's it called? Not watch light service. What is it called on New Year's? New Year's has a different name, something clock, right? Or something service. If anybody goes to church on New Year's, what's the name of the New Year's service? Community SEL groups. Talk to me, Savannah. What's a community SEL group? We got to start with something. Like we got to, it kind of starts. That's such a huge thing. That's why all the presidents meet with the ministers. The ministers are the spokesmen in the black community for the black people. The ministers are the ones who help navigate for the presidents. Generation have no humanity. Yep, they might raise hell with them folks. True story. But we got to do it. It only takes one domino to knock everything down. We some non-church going folks nowadays. Yeah, the elders who run a church are dying. We need to reset our social emotional skills. I can agree. Watch night service. That's what it's called. Red Baby. Thank you so much. Watch night service on New Year's. We're not as responsible as we need to be. Social emotional learning. It's such a challenge when I think about the emotional state of those that are coming after us. I don't know if we, as the generation before them, have shown us enough empathy for them to understand the emotional responsibility that they have. I honestly feel like as a black man, we need to start amongst ourselves. Absolutely, that's what we're saying. But it takes us to actively be doing it in the community. I feel like that too sometimes, LaRon. I think that when they speak with these presidents, that these ministers, but here's the thing, and I'll tell you, it all goes back to what we talked about last night. Without the money, you don't have the power. Without the power, you don't get the respect. No, it takes those icon for the simple reason that they pull people together on a regular basis. They have an institution, they have an infrastructure set up to communicate with the mass public of that community on a regular basis. Not a one person, not one of us has that. Not one of us who are not ministers, who are not those people, have that. Anaya says all they do is read the Bible over and over every year. There's a church on every block in the hood. True story. We need to combine some of our monies and be like, what now? And that's exactly what I was saying, Savannah. That's the conversation. That's the appeal that needs to happen. That's the appeal that needs to happen. But they keep putting examples in front of you of people misusing or misappropriating funds. Think about it. You think that the fact that this Black Lives Matter movement, expose came out where they were talking about they used the money for mansions and all this kind of stuff. You think that isn't designed to show you that even when this should be a great policy and something and something to stand behind, a great movement, that people aren't using it for themselves? A lot of churches have the activity, but that's what lights the fire underneath people's butts is when you got a minister who ain't afraid. That Dr. Fred Price, if y'all look at that video, that place was packed. It was filled with people, and I know I didn't hear his whole message. I just heard that part of the message, and it lit me on fire. So I can only imagine. True story, but that we can't let that be the hurdle that cripples us. That can't be our Achilles heel. You see the greatest number of people at church on Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. My pastor called people that attended on those days CMEs. I was part of the AME church. That's funny. But we have to take advantage. Imagine if CMG and Rock Nation and every black artist came together and made one music label. Yes, that's ideal. The reason why a lot of that doesn't happen immediately is because they're contractually already involved with the enemy. And I won't even call them the enemy. I just say the adversary. There are people out there who are making money off of CMG and Rock Nation and all these black artists, and they don't listen. If they do it, here's the thing. The involvement that those artists have and those labels would have has to be, oh man, if you don't understand that. So after every good contract fulfillment happens, there's a better contract that's more fair than the contract before it. Letitia says it's greed. One guy wants to do the other instead of coming together to realize how strong. Yep, true story. People don't know how to follow. They don't know their roles nowadays. You know what I'm saying? They don't know their roles, and nobody wants to play their roles. But in numbers, we show power. I know I can, but we got to get the numbers together. Act. Okay, there we go. You are doing more than most preachers have done in the last 60 years than these so-called community leaders have done in the last 10 minutes. True story. I mean, but it has to start somewhere, right? And maybe this platform will grow. Like maybe this conversation will be able to someday reach thousands of people, and then maybe tens of thousands of people, and maybe actually make the kind of impact that it should make. That's the only thing that I can think about as we move forward is that maybe one day to catch on. You know what I'm saying? But in the process of doing that, in the process of building, I can't worry about the community and the people that don't jump on board, or we'll be waiting forever. And that's to me, that's the tragedy of our existence right now, is that we have, church, is that we've been waiting. We are still waiting for someone to come and save us, and nobody is coming to save us. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I can believe that. There are liquor stores on every corner so that you can drown out your problems instead of facing your problems. Yeah, man. There's a song I wrote called "Turn on the Lights" for LaRon that it says that very sentiment. It says they say that I'm the spark that's gonna light the fire, elevate the flame, and take this light higher, illuminate the sky, and make the world brighter. Because deep inside, we all share the same desire, and that's to turn on the lights. Like at some point, it has to mean more to us. Reed, you're absolutely right. Only we can save ourselves, man. And if there's not a message that I can't, because listen, Icon, a lot of people, want to drown out their miseries, bro, because they have a sense of hopelessness. I think when you give people hope and you give them direction and you give them instruction, that changes, that those liquor stores stop being visited as much. And if they stop being visited as much, guess what happens? They have to shut down. They're not making money. It costs more to cut the lights on than they're making from the community. So there's a roadmap to it all. We just have to initiate that roadmap. There's absolutely a roadmap to the success that we want in our communities. I'm just not daunted, and I'm not so full of myself that I can't say to you all, we need people who are in better positions than I am to initiate some of these things. Would I like to be involved? Absolutely. But if those people who are already in position and have the infrastructure are set up, then we need to support those people. I wanted to introduce to Black Record Execs an adult SEL course for an artist that will prevent the trap. They're not the Savannah, the opposition that they're going to bring to you is that, why do I want to mess with anything that's making me money? These Black record executives got to answer to the Jewish record label that they're a part of if they're on a major successful level. So I think the approach has to go back, and I'll say, y'all, just like the title of this room, this was then, that was then, this is now, that we need to go back to a time where we weren't caring if everybody got access to our music. Do y'all know what would be one of the dopest things now that you say that, Savannah? Do you feel a bigger awakening of our people today? I feel it's becoming that, Tashi. I believe that we're in a moment where we are waking up and people are starting to say, I'm not with this. I remember there was a time when we watched movies like Roots and say they couldn't do that to us. And then you find that they found a way to do Roots to us just differently. The equivalent of what they do in the Kanye West and Kyrie Irving is the same thing that they did to Chicken George in cutting off half his foot. My pastor stood up in the pulpit and said that he got to pay for his house. Let's just say we relocated and many other members have been in Tennessee. That's crazy. So you can receive your salvation is what I would tell them, Scrap. Indeed. So Savannah, here's what would happen. And I don't know why, nobody wants to do the work, but here's how on the entertainment level or music industry level, we get things back. You take a really dope artist and you support that really dope artist who has really great messages, and you make him the dopest cat that people have heard in your region, then in your state, and then he'll start passing on to other states or whatnot. And then you decide that we will not share the profits that we're making. Let me give y'all an example. Y'all do know that happened before, right? There was this guy named Luke Skywalker who had a group called 2 Live Crew. Some of y'all may have heard of him. He had a record label. He was from, I think Luke was from Jamaica, or he's definitely from the Caribbean. And he started a record label called Luke Skywalker Records that was completely independent and distributed independently. He owned everything. And the way, what up V1? The way they came after him, Luke hasn't been the same since. When Luke was so self-contained that he didn't need anybody, he had his own distribution channels, and because his group was so dope and we went to the streets to find it, we went to the local mom and pop record stores to get it, they could say what they want and they moved how they want. Similar to how Ruthless Records moved, which is why it had the kind of issues. But Ruthless Records had Jerry Heller at the helm, who was a Jewish man, who the story goes was robbing all of that group. I don't know why people think it's brand new that these Jewish heads of these record labels were doing and acting how they were. Like I said, Cadillac Records and Ruthless Records are perfect. But we'd have to go back to Luke wasn't from Miami. Luke is from one Jamaica or somewhere like that. But his label was one of the only labels that was completely self-contained, and they shut him down. He came out with an album called Banned in the USA, because the USA had banned the selling of his music. They crippled him like they're trying to cripple these other entertainers. So we will be met with opposition, but they can only cripple you. Listen, one thing I know about us is we're resilient and we're resourceful. If we want to get something, we know how to get it. Yeah, see? Yeah, there you go. I knew it was Caribbean. But the mindset behind it is that we can own our own, but we got to be resilient with it. We have to be resilient with holding on to it and creating it and knowing that our community will support us. Instead, we end up selling these rights for a crazy lump sum of money, only to then diminish our appeal and then have somebody tell you what you can and cannot say, what you can and cannot do. They undermine and try to take away the very thing that you got popular for. Y'all seen this before. They did it with T.I. T.I. got in trouble, and he was no longer the trouble man. He was advocating, you know what I'm saying? And this is what they like to do. They did it to Mike Vick over some damn dogs. You know what I mean? So if y'all not, again, the duality that you have to have in today's world is you have to be a historian while you're living in the present. And then you have to be a futurist to have the patience to get us to where we're trying to go. You have to find a way to strip you. But they can't strip us if the one thing that they can bet on is that we're not going to stand by each other. That probably is one of the most disheartening things, is that they can bet on it. They can bet that there's going to be a Judas among us. They can bet that there'll be somebody, and it's usually a personal reason and not a movement reason and not a collective reason. There's usually a personal reason why somebody undermines you. Ain't that messed up? The most hurtful part, man, is that we haven't. And I don't want to speak like it's not impossible. We just haven't. Hopefully in the coming years, we manage it a little differently. I'm gonna drink this apple cider vinegar, y'all. Apple cider vinegar drink. Cheers to anybody who's already drank it. Yep, they do know how to separate us from each other. Let me see what she said. I think those guys running things are just keeping racist powers happy. Well, it's what you said and I said is the same thing. The division is what it is. No, I made it myself, Laos. I made it myself. You say I make it look so easy. It tastes so good though. Like it tastes good. That's why I can take it to the head like that. Post that in the comments. Why are you crying, Icon? The apple cider vinegar drink. I got a post of it up, hip hop, where you can see how I made it and everything. I got a post, you know what I'm saying? That post should be up maybe 2 or 3 times. Check the IG joint with the honey. Yep, I got the whole thing listed. I actually show you me making it as well. On Sundays when y'all tune in, which Sundays, I don't know why, but Sundays nights seem to be one of my bigger nights. And I guess it's because I'm online making it. You know what I'm saying? I make about 5. I make Monday through Friday's worth. So tomorrow and Sunday, I'll make six of them. But I make it every day. You know, I stop making it every day and start bulk making it so that I don't have to make it every day. And this tastes so good. Like it tastes so good. With the honey does it. Like I know some of y'all don't use honey, but oh my God, I don't know if I could do it. That's what's up. Laurent said you drink it every day. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that, Laurent. Just make sure put the number back in so I have the most current number for you. But that's what's important, y'all. Like the conversation has to change in order for for things to I can't even say things should go back the way they are, the way they were, because we know too much. We know too much for things to go back. Yeah, you fall off when you make it daily, right, Laz? So make it in advance. The containers I got are from other juice stores. So this is from Arden Gardens here in Atlanta. I just rinsed it and kept it. You know what I'm saying? And then I got the other ones are from Whole Foods. Whole Foods has some great vegetable drinks. They're called cold pressed. That are really good for you as well, that you can use as a meal replacement or a snack. Bro, we keep thinking we're growing, yet they keep making us feel like we're lower beings. Right, but if you, in this day and age, you have to know what you know. Like, one thing that I do know is that we're one of the most powerful groups of people on this planet. God made it that way. It ain't by choice. We just happen to be that. So you have to be strong and be proud in that. You know what I mean? You have to be excited that you are who you are because of that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's cool, Tasha. Any way you do it to hold it, you know what I'm saying, to keep it. But you are who you are. And you have to be strong about that. Do you also notice that YouTube keeps updating their policies? Pretty soon we won't be able to speak. I mean, I would say they're one of the more flexible platforms to be on, though. But to your point, I had a conversation with my cousin the other night, and he just really emphasized how we need our own. We need our own platforms to talk on. A combination of what would look like. Excuse me. We need our own platforms that we can govern our conversations. We don't have that. Well, we don't. There are a few things that we could have already had in place that we don't have in place. We don't have our own social media platform that is like a Black Planet in terms of concept, but just as competitive as a TikTok or Instagram. There's no reason why we shouldn't, because they've shown you the examples of how to build them. Like, all this coding and stuff is available for most savvy, developers to figure out. And then we don't even use the grassroots approach that we can use for the success that we want. Meaning, I'm going to really implore people to start writing things down, to start sending letters to people, to start handing people notes. Those things make a doggone difference. And we have to start with doing what we did before better because of the knowledge that we have now. We have not yet taken the wheel and made a better wheel. We're using the same wheel that we always used, when in fact there has to be a better wheel. And we haven't spent time developing it. Instead, we're comfortable with the wheels that we have. If we're trying to advance, if we're trying to change things, we need to design wheels for us. In the situation that we're talking about with Kanye, develop shoes that we create and manufacture and support. The only reason why his shoe was popular because he endorsed it. Now that he's not endorsing it, we're not buying the shoe, even though the shoe to me is a good product. But we bought into the investment we were making into creating another billionaire, and then the shoe. Because at first everybody said what I said. This is an ugly shoe. There's no way. I told you, I was like there's certain ones I won't wear, but then I bought them and I was like, yo, this is kind of fly. I'm rocking with it. So we have to create our own brands. We got our work cut out for us, but it's not impossible to do. We just need to create our own brands and support it. We make everything cool. And if we know that, if we have the confidence to know that everything we do is cool and we make it cool, then it should be simple. We just have to stand on it. Every other culture loves what we do, so much so that they borrow, they steal, they, and then they exploit at our expense. So at this point, this is an amazing moment. This is an amazing moment in time that is being catapulted by one community's stronghold on certain, the public display of this stronghold they feel they have on other communities. This is a perfect time for us to make an adjustment. Like, I know people think this is screwed up, but I'm like, yo, God's timing is never wrong. The fact that we're all conscious and thinking about these things right now, there's a reason for this moment in time. There's a reason for us for meeting and having these conversations. And all we do now is all we have to do at this point is make what it means make sense publicly. We have to make it make sense for this generation and beyond. All we got to do is the work. I'm going to present so if you're not on my Instagram is kind of where I really, discuss a lot of the pain points and kind of give some examples and talk about strategies a little bit more. And the only reasons I have to do it there is because we don't have our own platform and not enough people come to YouTube to see and talk and discuss. Instagram seems to be the better vehicle for the conversation. TikTok as well to some degree, but the expectancy to learn on TikTok is not as high as it is on Instagram. TikTok is more of an entertainment app, and you're going to see all these people do all these other crazy things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We need to, Joetta, it's not so much a patent on us, but we definitely need to start creating strategies and a manual and have a blueprint that we've created off of the success of it working that we can pass down to future generations. When they see these oppositions coming, they can say, oh, no, I remember that happened before, and this is how they handled it. Right now, we're acting like everything that is happening is brand new to us. And when I see those clips of Malcolm X talking and discussing and Muhammad Ali and all these leaders from before talking about these same things, it's my name, LaRon, is Dwight_Scrap_Reynolds. Same. It's branded all across all platforms. Nothing is new. What's going to be new is how we manage it and deal with it moving forward. So keep that in mind as we think of and start implementing, more so than thinking, implementing solutions. We got to start doing stuff. Right now we watching things happen, man, and life ain't never been a spectator sport for me. I don't like watching TV because I don't like watching other people live their lives. You got to be active out here. What up, Letter? You have to be active. That's what's being asked of you, is to be active. Turn the TV off and start thinking. On a last note, tonight, going to check out that Wakanda Forever movie. Support. That is one of our creatives telling a story of Black excellence. You got to go see it. I'll be there. Opening night is tonight. I'm going to see it to support. I think you all should do it too. These are the different ways that we continue to elevate. And I'm sure there is a message in it that we can take away. And more likely on Saturday, we'll get together and we'll chop it up. Yeah, that's what's up. So Saturday at some point I'll jump on and we'll probably, if not, we'll discuss it throughout the week. But I'm going to sit and watch the movie and enjoy it. And hopefully it'll be some amazing takeaways that will help compound what we're talking about right now. But man, I would tell you all to, either ask the pastor if you can make an announcement in church or whatever, and say, hey, pastor or congregation, if any of you are ex-military, I'd like to see you after today's sermon, because we need to start strategically teaching the community how to move, how to defend itself, how to move against these dope dealers, these thugs in the neighborhood who have no training. Do y'all understand that a little bit of training will go a long way against people who have no training? Y'all don't understand that, but guess who does? The police do. When it's millions of y'all, not even gonna say millions, when it's tens of thousands of people marching, the one thing that y'all don't have that the police can always bet on is training to know what the man next to them is going to do. That's why when chaos breaks out, what do you see? You see people scattering like roaches when the light comes on. But not the police. They're in alignment. They're standing next to each other. They have what they need to protect themselves. Come on, man. Let's go. Is that what it is? Wear white for Chadwick? Is that what they saying, Tashi? Man, I got to think, do I got white? I ain't never been a wear white guy. I really haven't. I promise you. I might have some white. I'll see. But I ain't definitely got no white pants. I got some cream pants. They fly as I don't know what to. But I got to see. I might wear a white shirt. You know what I'm saying? I probably will wear something white, but I ain't got no white pants. Like listen here. I got a white polo. I got it from it's a white polo from the what is the golf classic called? The golf joint. I'm gonna have to do some other social network. I think I'd be missing out on a lot. My schedule be so crazy. YouTube, I can put my earbud in and keep it moving. Yeah, that's what's up. And the replays too. So if you ever miss something, you can always watch it back on YouTube, y'all. Y'all can actually take the YouTube and send it to people as well. What up, Kathina? Y'all can send the YouTube out to people. Y'all could clip the YouTube. I would love y'all participation in sharing these conversations. All y'all got to do is just send it. Just share it. Share it. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. I'm about to get my Friday started. You know what I'm saying? Jump started on the second round. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, it's going to be a day where I'm going to be jumping off of one live and I'm going to be jumping onto another one and that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to those days of being able to communicate more effectively throughout the day. But I can't always be on here talking. We got to do some walking, y'all. So that's the other part of it. I think the conversation starts now with communicating with those people who are going to make a change. So there may be a couple of videos I need to make to put the onus on some of these millionaires and billionaires that's out there. But I also want to make sure that when I do that, I have a clear-cut plan. The one thing I can tell you about people in business is they like to know that you've thought of all the contingencies. And so I really want to do that before I say to these guys, hey, look, man, this is the plan. And I need to speak to a couple realtors so they can tell me if I'm making complete sense. And just speak to some people like that can help manage this vision of building infrastructure. Like, I really need to have that conversation with some people who are solely dedicated to building and what that requires, so that when it's presented to those people who can actually help support that financially, they'll know what's up. I love to do the plan out. That's what's up. Well, Tashi, maybe you do it in your area and build a model that can be duplicated other places, because that's exactly what should be happening. Is we shouldn't be trying a new formula everywhere. We should be trying a formula that works everywhere. With that being said, it's your host with the most like butter on your breakfast toast. Y'all know who I am. And I had an amazing time, as I usually do. I appreciate y'all being patient with me. I started a little bit late today. Well, we did the thing, right? We did it, right? All right, y'all. Y'all can watch the replays on YouTube. I want to shout out everybody, man. Let me just shout out everybody who Cash App, man. I appreciate y'all, man. That goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? It's appreciated. It's not necessary, but thank you. For anybody who gifted on the live, thank you so much. For the people who bought badges today, that was dope. Esteban, what's happening? For anybody who, on YouTube, I got to get people educated on YouTube. They have a thing down there where it says super likes and super chats, where you're able to actually buy or create a comment that stays in the comment section for a while when you buy it. Those are super cool to do. But you can also go back, and there's a thing called super thanks. If you're watching the YouTube videos and you like it, or you send it to somebody and they like it, they have an opportunity to support the live. They support the live by buying a thanks, whatever that is. I haven't actually seen it in action, but there's a thing you can do with that. Hey, with that being said, thank you all. See, okay, yeah, that's it. LaRon just did it. LaRon just bought a sticker. I appreciate that, brother. Always showing support, man. I love you, bro. For everybody else, I hope this was a great start to y'all weekend. I hope this was an amazing start to your weekend. I hope you have Tashi. I appreciate the Cash App, Tashi. Always supporting. I hope this was a great start to your weekend, that y'all can get out and have an amazing weekend, but also have these things on your mind. So when you get into conversations, for those of you who are going out and y'all need something to talk about at the table, y'all need a conversation to have, hopefully I'm giving you that. That's one of the things that I really, really hope is that at the dinner table, that y'all are having that conversation. You know what I mean? I really hope that y'all are taking these conversations and saying, hey, we were talking about this today. You know, I heard this today. Hey, what do y'all think about this? You know what I'm saying? I hope that I'm giving y'all some talking points for those people who are in those situations where you've run out of things to say and run out of perspectives to have. I hope that I'm giving you one so that y'all can have a more engaged opportunity with the people that are in your lives. That's really one of the other reasons for being on these lives, is so that y'all can carry these conversations past this point. I appreciate y'all. This is not goodbye. This is to be continued. I'm out. Hey. Hey. Doing a color parties now, my girls today. All started mentioning the combo. That's what's up. Whoop. Discard that. I'm out. Shoot me the number, LaRon. I'll hit you in a little bit. Around 2:30 or like 3, something like that. Hey. Hey.